Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode 132 today for the Bahrain Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the opening round of this brand new and final season on F1 2020 My Team, then check that one out at the Australian Grand Prix. Was a difficult episode, I would say, for the whole team, really, not just me, for the whole team. You know, teething issues with the handling and drivability of the car, and then seemingly a car issue. I still don't know what the issue was for our new teammate Mick Schumacher, but was at one point leading the Grand Prix and then fell away by about 6-7 positions and actually finished behind us in the end in 10th place for one measly point. You can see the standings are the race results, and our old teammate, our outgoing one, Lando Norris, in his new digs at Red Bull Racing, won the Grand Prix quite amazingly ahead of Ocon and Max Verstappen there. So questions, a lot of questions still to be answered in terms of the pecking order, because Racing Point didn't seem there. Ferrari were quick initially because Leclerc did take the lead of the race away from Schumacher, but then kind of, you know, messed up the strategy, it would seem like. So still some questions about what the pecking order is like, and then in terms of where our car is specifically, because yeah, I did not feel comfortable with the car at any moment in that Grand Prix. Obviously it didn't help that we had a wet qualifying, so going into the race I didn't have much dry running with the car to get used to it. The first laps I did with the car in the dry with the new Honda engine in the back of this thing was, you know, on the opening laps of the race. So maybe now at Bahrain with a bit more experience with how the car is under braking and whatnot and trying to rotate the car, maybe I'll have a bit of time around Bahrain. But Bahrain is a power circuit, and we know the Honda engine is the worst engine out of every one we've got available to ourselves. So we are going to maybe have to compromise a bit on this setup, and it may be that we're on the back foot once again. But I don't know, we've had some pretty good races at Bahrain. Aggressive strategies do pay out, especially in the last 2-3 seasons they already have. So I'm looking forward to kind of delving into that and maybe try and using the strategy to our advantage in that kind of sense. But we go into qualifying first and foremost, though, away from strategy, just have to get the car pace over one lap going, and that's something that we were unable to really explore around Australia, having a full wet day on Saturday. So looking forward to a dry running, and Q1 was, you know, fine. We got through down in P14, Schumacher up the order, but that's no issue. That's kind of what the pattern's been in Q1 over the entirety of this series. Now it'll be a case of what happens in Q2. Can we make it through to the top 10 shootout this time, and then see how high up the order we can get? Schumacher, of course, got through and was on the front row for the grid on Australia, so I don't doubt there's pace in the car. It's just about finding that confidence, and you can see still wrestling with it on the exit there, opposite lock, easy to lose the back end, and again losing it on the curb. So you can see it's just not as smooth as I was maybe driving last season. I think I spoke about this at the end of last season, Season 7. I felt that season was my best season ever for qualifying. How many times did we actually get very close to pole position? And actually it was the first season I got multiple poles in a season, whereas straight off the bat now, that's very much the opposite. I'm not feeling as comfy. The car is not as smooth as it once was, and so it's something we're going to have to get used to, but it's kind of no excuse, just to get on with it, basically. But you can see eventually we find the pace, at least if we're not comfortable, the time's still there, and we do get through into the top 10 shooter and match Schumacher quite nicely. Surprising though, Verstappen got knocked out in the Mercedes. He was looking quite strong around Australia, so just showing still the grid order is so close. A matter of a few tenths can lose you so many positions, and it's so tight, and there's only 10 places, and so many teams now are vying for those 10 spots, because now Red Bull and Ferrari have kind of had an uptick in performance, it would seem, with Lando being there and Ferrari just with that yo-yo performance we've seen over the course of multiple seasons. So it's even harder now this season to guarantee spots in that top 10 shootout, with McLaren and Racing Point still being there, of course. So now into more familiar territory with the top 10 shootout. That first run was on a worn set of soft tyres that I use in Q1, because you may have seen I had to do 2 runs in Q2 to actually get myself into the top 10, because we were very close on that first run we did in Q2. So we had to kind of go with old rubber on that first run. It just gives us a bit of a yardstick on the delta time to see on the top right how much time we're gaining, and, you know, where we could place it. And we gained a very decent 8.5 tenths. It's been a very good lap. Purple first sector, green second, across the line. May not be enough for pole, but it's going to be a pretty decent lap. 5th place, I'll take that. Mick Schumacher, though, out-qualifies us for the second time Mick Schumacher, though, out-qualifies us for the second time in a row then, and for a second time he's on second place. Doesn't quite have enough for pole position. This time Pierre Gasly finally shows up a little bit on Saturday after having a poor Saturday in Australia, and with his teammate out in P12, he's on pole position for Mercedes, but Mick having some really good pace there on the front row again. So you can see Schumacher's got the pace over one lap, and the pace is there in the car over one lap. In the race, though, I wasn't getting to grips with it, and clearly something went wrong for Schumacher. I'm hoping it was a car issue, and that we can see a stronger showing from him from second place. If not, then we might have some big, worries in terms of how we're going to be performing as a constructor, as a duo team against the other teams in that kind of fight. And then as a driver individually, it's down to me to obviously get to grips with the race pace of this car. But from 5th place, I think we can have a good showing, and I'm really happy that we progressed a bit in terms of the pace. Ferrari and McLaren both lost some pace, though, going into the top 10 shootout. I thought McLaren were looking very strong in the first two parts, so maybe there's more to come from them on Sunday. But let's go to the grid and see what we can do from the third row of the grid.
The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1, of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's have a chat about Williams. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Mick Schumacher lines up on pole position, and talented Spaniard Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, the owner-driver, Antonio Giovinazzi and Ocon, Leclerc, Stroll, Hamilton and Alexander Albon. Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty. Verstappen, Nick de Vries and Bottas, Russell, Aitken, Nobuharu Matsushita and Kevin Magnussen, Kvyat, Latifi, Joe and Luca Giotto. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, Mick Schumacher has inherited his first ever grid pole position. Gasly may have earned it on Saturday, but if you were watching that grid sequence there, Gasly has a penalty, so he is down 10 positions. He actually joins his teammate Verstappen, basically, on the same row, so quite nice there, but the difference is Verstappen has a free choice of tyre, along with every other person on the grid, but Schumacher is then on pole. That is a very cool phrase to say, and Sainz in second, then Lando. We actually share now a row with Lando on the second row alongside that Red Bull and Giovinazzi Ocon right behind us. Strategy-wise, it is going to be a two-stop, that classic thing where the guys in the top 10 are forced onto a two-stop because the soft compound wears out that quickly. But we have seen, especially in the last 2-3 seasons, that hard tyre has not really been too great at keeping up the pace at the end. And as the cars have all got quicker, the maxed out car seems to be much faster on a two-stop if you can get through the traffic here at Bahrain. That's the big crucial thing. The traffic will be a big determining factor, but I'm confident. I'm hoping we can have a better showing as a duo. Schumacher on pole. We're in 4th place. Let's get into this as we go to 5 red lights to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round number 2 of Season 8 is underway, and it's a horrendous start for Carlos Sainz there. Myself and Lando with a much better getaway, but then in towards the brakes, and the Red Bulls pick up a bit more pace into turn 1. Sainz goes in hot, and he's made contact with Schumacher, and he's broken a bit of his front wing. We're getting a little bit close for wear with Lando and Esteban Ocon, and the McLaren has found his way up into P3. What a start there for Esteban Ocon. Very opportunistic. We got caught up in kind of not wanting to break a bit of our front wing, getting pinched in by the Red Bull and McLaren. So in the end, we've lost a place, and we're down to 5th now. We're trying to catch back up. You can see Sainz there with front wing damage is holding us all up there. We actually gave Lando a bit of a love tap on the rear end. Thankfully, thankfully no damage, but now we're going neck and neck, and we're having a great little scrap here. So this is going to be very nice to see as we're trying to go around the outside, locking up quite a fair bit on the front left, easy to do at that corner, let alone with the car on the inside. Now it's a drag race, and the Red Bull has the measure. We bang tyres, and there's no love lost between two former teammates. This is a great little battle with Lando brewing, and up ahead, Sainz is still somehow hobbling along in second place with a broken front wing, holding up Ocon. We send one to the inside for the right-hander into the last little stretch, again making more contact with Lando, so this is getting a little bit maybe overboard, but of course, when we were teammates last season, we try to keep it as respectful as possible, but now we're in different teams, the gloves are off a little bit more, and we can get that kind of frustration out. I guess he can get his frustration out of not winning the championship last season by just a fine margin, as we're now having a drag race with him and Stroll having to defend against the Canadian and trying to attack Lando at the same time. Sainz has come in for his pit stop as he broke his front wing completely on Mick Schumacher there, but we're up into third place with a nice move on the outside, that was, of turns 1 and then 2, but oh god, way too deep into that corner there. Unawares, just went way too late on the brakes, and Lando's back through, and so we go again and getting on the curb a little, having to lift off, and more tyre banging. This is becoming an absolutely titanic battle with Lando Norris in the Red Bull car. Ourselves on the left-hand side, on the inside line this time. Surely we can squeeze him out. Very, very harsh on the exit, but you have to do what you have to do. Deploy the ERS, no DRS available yet, and that squeeze out was so much that it's going to give us a bit of breathing room, and Stroll is actually right on the back and has gone down the inside of Lando to try and overtake him. So this fight right here, up the hill, they're already losing time to me. You can see visually the gap to me is growing, so that's going to allow us to break away a little bit and now chase after P2 Ocon, but he's quite some way down the road, and even further down the road is our new teammate Mick Schumacher. So once again, Schumacher leads a Grand Prix, and he's got someone chasing after him. Can he hold it this time? Unlike Australia, we'll have to see as the laps go on. But behind us, there's a mega scrap going on between Stroll, Hamilton this is now as well. Lando, the Ferrari, it's going to be 4 wide maybe, and look at Lando on the right going for a diving move to retake Hamilton and Lance Stroll. So he lost 2 positions to Hamilton and Stroll and has gained them right back. What a great break zone there. But Hamilton did really well initially to get 2 positions in 1, but he's lost out to his fellow Brit. He's back down to P5 that will be, and Lando's back up into P4, but that is a really great scrap. But eventually on the very next lap, Hamilton comes at a rate of knots with DRS open, and he's going to get the move booked in on the inside. Lando does defend as much as he can, keeps his nose in the whole way through, and then eventually has to back out of that. It looks like I said, the McLaren looked quick in Qs 1 and 2, and then they just fell away at the wrong time in the last part of qualifying. I think this is their true pace, and you can see it showing. Ocon second, Hamilton fourth, and on lap number 5, we're coming in for a nice and early pit stop, as we've done quite a fair few times around Bahrain, and this is going to give us a really good undercut and try to bridge that gap to Ocon, because I wasn't really gaining too much on him because the tyre wear started to kick in a bit and Hamilton was starting to gain. So this will try and close us up to second place, hopefully, and we'll see what the others do. You know, will McLaren go long? What will Mick do as well, of course, because that's the thing. Schumacher, he fell away with a bit of pace as well initially before he completely fell off the cliff at the Australian Grand Prix. So I wonder, you know, I just have a bad feeling that maybe that was also part and part of maybe his AI just not being up to scratch with the stats, as now we catch up to Lando Norris now. We've made our pit stop. We're down to second last place, but Lando's not made his pit stop yet, and he's here with, I think, damage to his front wing. So something's occurred, and that is such a shame. We had such a great battle with him initially, so I thought maybe we could have a race-long battle with him, maybe, if we kept meeting him, but no, and this is why. So a replay, he was behind Hamilton here, and oh my word, Lando Norris has had a massive tank slapper and a huge mistake. That's just pure tyre wear, I think, in an AI error as he went through the left-hander. That was before anyone made their pit stops. He was behind Hamilton, you saw on the onboard there. And I guess he just lost the rear end, wasn't it, on the curb? And so that was just tyre wear kicking in. So you can see what I mean at Bahrain. The soft compounder tyre really wears out very, very quickly and has seemed to have caught out Lando and might have just caught out someone else because Gasly's now here. All my old teammates are having a disaster this race. What is going on? Sainz, Norris, Gasly, all of them former teammates of mine. All of them have either crashed into someone or have spanned. I don't know what's happened to Gasly here. I assume some issues with tyre wear, but maybe not because he continues on. So I don't know what he's doing. He's just going very long on this strategy. He got pole position properly on Saturday, but it got taken away from him, and he's having an even more miserable Sunday then, as we are now fully side by side nearly with Ocon. So look at that. The undercut worked a treat, and we're now fully there with Ocon to fight him. I don't know where Schumacher is in all this. I think he may have continued on for one more lap, but we go on to lap number 9 then, and Schumacher is pit finally, and he's behind us. So technically this means my fight with Ocon here is for first place, because Schumacher has gone from first to third effectively because he's behind us on the soft compounder tyre. And now, hang on a minute, we've just gone round the outside of Ocon, I think. Yes, we have. What a move round the outside of the hairpin. Just completely caught him napping 100%. He was caught up behind Guan Yu Zhou in the Haas, and I guess just didn't realise that I was coming at a rate of knots. We obviously had a bit of time to think about where to place the car in, and we just rolled it round the outside mid-apex, and we're up into P13. So effectively this is the race lead basically, because we're the race leaders cutting our way through this traffic as we go round the outside of the Haas with a nice little move. And this is where we can get the advantage maybe on the AI around us, is trying to cut through this traffic as quickly as we can, whereas they may dawdle a little bit. But Ocon saying that has now woken up a bit, and he's making the move on the Haas as well, and gets very close to my rear end actually. So maybe that's the wake-up call Ocon needed, was me overtaking him to kick his brain into gear to try and chase after us. And you can see, look at the pace of that McLaren right on the back of us there, so we have to watch out for that. But Latifi now getting caught up behind the Williams, and again, like with Ocon, we're just trying to kind of place our car correctly to open up these spaces and open up the potential moves. But Ocon has got the jump on us. We had a poor exit off the exit of turn 2, but we're still trying to overtake Latifi, and Latifi does us a solid by blocking off the Frenchman effectively, and we get through on the left-hand side up into P11, and we can chase after the two Williams cars of Jack Aitken and Luca Giotto, who are now going side by side into turn 1. So Williams v Williams, we're just going to take this nice and easy. We go tight into turn 1, try and switch it back to the left, although we get a bit of a rear end snap, but it's effectively what I was trying to do, is swing it through on the left-hand side, get the move done on the left on Aitken, and then look to try and get Giotto hopefully immediately on this next lap. Might have to wait till the second straight basically, that tiny DRS straight, as we climb the hill then, and have to go around the outside to finish the move off. But in the end, we haven't lost that much time. It's still not obviously perfect, because we're still in the red in terms of lap times, but we're now in clean air as some other people ahead of us pit, and Ocon will also be in clean air soon enough, and that's going to mean he's going to have free reign to chase after us. Lap number 13, that's exactly what's happening as Ocon goes for a move. We squeeze him to the right, but he's through with DRS. We're going to keep a wide line on the left-hand side to give Ocon the room, but also try and open ourselves up for a bit of a pinch into turn 2. That happens right there. Little bit of contact made, but it's so close, but so good to see. And this is a great scrap with Ocon for the race lead effectively. We get back down the inside, shoulders out, and we're back into, well, P7 on the road, but it will be P1 eventually. But Ocon comes again, and this time he's so much quicker, and the McLaren, he waltzes past. Now I have no chance really of making anything work, so much so that Ocon took the racing line. So in the end, the McLaren has the overwhelming pace there, and you can see I get even a squirrel of oversteer into turn 2, and that loses just a little bit, so I can't even make anything work on the second DRS straight. And lap 17, once Ocon gets in clean air, he gets his head down, and looks like the McLaren is actually the faster race car now here at this point of the race, which is a little bit frustrating to see. We're going to look to maybe do an undercut maybe, as we're going to come in on this lap. Luca Giotto though is out of this Grand Prix, and yellow flags, virtual safety car is out. If that goes long enough, that will actually make our pit stop on this lap even better, if the virtual safety car stays out all the way till our pit entry. You have to watch out for that. But let's have a look then at what happened with, well, this is with Schumacher then, so not even with Giotto. This is something with Leclerc or Schumacher or one of the Ferrari cars. No, it's Schumacher. And oh, what on earth? In the same place, Lando Norris lost the back end. Schumacher's lost it, but he's had a T-bone collision with the Ferrari, I think, or maybe another car, as he loses the back end with the tyre wear, and the Ferrari narrowly misses him, but oh, Stroll smashes right into him. Verstappen gets held up in the Ferrari as a Giovinazzi, I think that was, parked up at the hairpin, and Verstappen got caught up in that. But Schumacher got very lucky, actually, because he came away with no damage, just spun the car and got T-boned, but no damage to him, massive damage to Stroll, Giovinazzi, and Verstappen. And on the virtual safety car ending, look at that, on the top right, I had to slow down because it told me I was too quick, but the moment I started braking to slow myself down, the virtual safety car ended, so I actually ended up losing about a second, I think that was, to Ocon, so that's so frustrating. We're going to come in anyway. The virtual safety car, one, didn't extend to the point I was going to enter the pit lane, so we haven't gained any advantage pitting on this particular lap with the virtual safety car. We will gain some time just on the undercut like we did on the first pit stop, but doubly frustrating not to gain an advantage on the virtual safety car and then not to lose actually a second or so to Ocon, because that very awkward thing, it's so hard, I don't know about you guys, it's so hard to gauge when the virtual safety car is going to end exactly, and if you're braking to slow yourself down in a straight line, on a straight, you can get caught out so easily with that delta time, and so now we have to just make the most of it, of these fresher tyres to try and bridge that gap again to Ocon, but it's looking like the Frenchman really has a good control of this race now on the medium compound, unfortunately. And lap number 19 now, we're catching up to Valtteri Bottas and Matthew Sita, these two cars on a one-stop strategy on the hard compound, so we have to try and get past them. Well, actually, Matthew Sita's on the soft compound, so I don't even know what he's doing, but we're going to try and go around the outside of Bottas. A very, very strange overtake, but a really nice one nonetheless. But you may just see on the bottom left, you look at the mini-map, you'll see an orange dot faintly up the road. That is Ocon. He's already ahead of us and out, having made his pit stop. So as we make a nice little tidy move on the Alpine of Matthew Sita and up into P5, Ocon is already ahead of us, and he's going to go for a move for the race lead. This is George Russell v Albon. These two leading the race on hard compound tyres. This is for the real race lead, because these two are going to the end, and so Albon has taken the lead. Russell was leading the Grand Prix in the Alfa Romeo. He's now down to second, might be third, as Ocon goes round the outside, and Ocon, he's got a really good chance of running away with this if we don't catch up whilst he's battling this traffic effectively. So we've got to push now, but no, we've pushed too hard at the wrong place in the circuit. We've lost the rear end, we've smashed into the wall, and we've got serious damage to our front wing. That is a massive mistake and disaster for us at the worst time. That was the point of the race where we had to push like a stabbed rat and get the perfect laps in to bridge the gap to Ocon whilst he's busy overtaking Russell and Albon for the race lead. But instead, too eager on the throttle. We spoke about in Australia, the drivability issues. I'm still not used to the car, and these are the kind of teething issues you're going to be met with when you're not used to a car, when you need to get right on the edge of grip, pushing so hard in a race with race fuel tyre wear. That's when, if you're not comfortable with it, you can just lose it, and we lost the back end so quickly there because it was fourth gear. Tried to counter steer and brake, but the car had so much momentum that it was always going into the wall. To be fair, we're very lucky that I'm still in the race, that we didn't break our front left tyre, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because look where we are now. We're in second last place. We've got 8 laps to go. Our race is done. Our race is done. We're in second last place. Giotto's the only one behind us with a DNF. And now we're driving around on soft compound tyre. We can go as quick as we can. But, you know, we're so far away from even 18th place Kvyat or 19th place Kvyat. We're so far away. But, oh my God. Yes! No! Yes! The safety car is out. Jack Aitken has crashed out this Grand Prix. Oh, he's had a collision with the Alfa Romeo. He's taken out his rear end. And oh, is that Verstappen getting some more bad luck? No, I think it's Gasly. But Mercedes car hits him. And look at the pile-up. You can't even see the AI. They're ghosting through each other. There's a massive pile-up there. That's why the safety car's been called out, with a massive pile-up at turn 1. And some people gained some positions there. So there may be some penalties as well to look at. But that was Gasly who broke his front wing then on the back of the Williams car, so he's made the pit stop. We're still way down the order, so it's not our race entirely saved yet. We still have to do the work, but we've been handed a miracle lifeline at the perfect time. We've just gone to a set of used soft tyres, not new ones, a used set, but it's still going to be a quicker set of tyres than anyone else in this Grand Prix on worn mediums or worn hard tyres, and the safety car is going to bunch us up. So we've been handed an opportunity to make up for that mistake. Doesn't happen often. This is why I say never in Formula 1, and especially in the F1 game, because you just don't know what's going to happen. I was fully ready to completely zone out of this race and just, you know, just finish in 18th place or whatever it was to the end of the race. But then the safety car there has absolutely given us a chance to get back into the points maybe, because that's how quick our car is and that's how quick we should be on a soft compound tyre now. Because apart from Gasly behind us, I think we're the only man on a kind of fresher set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else is either on that one stop on the hards or that two stop on mediums, all with considerable more tyre wear. So here we go on the restart. We're not going to be able to fight Esteban Ocon anymore in this race, but we can try and make up for our mistake and at least get something out of this Grand Prix maybe. Into turn one. Oh, there's been a massive issue. And oh, the Ferrari Giovinazzi's been hit from the front and the back. He's completely been demolished into turn one. The front left and the rear right tyre was off for the Italian, and somehow we managed to find a way through on the left-hand side without any damage to our tyres with like a puncher. From there was so much debris, like a confetti had kind of blown up into turn one. Gasly and myself had really made up some positions there, and Norris going slow. Oh, Lando's got some damage there, so it's a horrendous day for Lando in the office. The last race's race winner at Australia. Horrible time today. Damage in the first part of the race with the mistake that he made with the tyre wear, and then I think he must have been involved in the collision then with Giovinazzi if he has damage to his front wing. So we're already up then into P13, and Verstappen and Schumacher up the road have penalties, and the second safety car is out. What? Second safety car, and Verstappen is a penalty anyway, like I was going to say, and Schumacher, so we'll gain some positions there with those two with a time penalty, so we can definitely get some lower end points today as we, just about slow down the car in time, and then, almost spin the car as we only just slowed the car down for that safety car delta time, and then I was too eager to get underway and only span the car under the safety car. It's all kicking off. This has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions, chaos, action here at Bahrain. We've still got 3 whole laps to go, or 2 rather, when we finish this one. Lap 27 onto the second last lap of the Grand Prix. On the restart, P12, Schumacher up ahead of us with a time penalty, but we're both going to go for a diving move. Schumacher with a triple overtake there. Maybe 4 overtakes done as he goes side by side with Leclerc. We get caught up making a bit of contact with Sainz as we try to follow Schumacher through, but Schumacher actually finished off a 3-man dive bomb. Didn't quite get the 4th on Leclerc, but still, he's got a penalty though, unfortunately, so it won't matter. But good to see Schumacher getting stuck in. But once again, I must point out, you know, he's been slow this race with the tyre wear. I'm starting to think maybe Australia, maybe it was a slight car issue, but I think also Schumacher, because he was an original F2 driver, as we send one down the inside of him, easily get him, because he was an original F2 driver, even with the boosted stats, as Lance Stroll is now out of this Grand Prix. It's been a bloodbath here at Bahrain. Maybe because of that, even though he's got stats boost with the, you know, the HQ facilities and whatnot, maybe he's just a lot worse at managing tyre wear because of that lack of experience on his stats, as we now go for maybe a double move on Bottas and Leclerc. 3-1 into turn one. We take a very wide line, as well. I was very afraid of Bottas where his front end was going there, as he was side by side with Leclerc and probably focused on the Ferrari way too much compared to me, so he gave him all the room in the world. That's opened us up there a little bit as Leclerc goes for a move on the right. We go on the left hand side, having to go and take a very interesting racing line to avoid making contact with Bottas whilst defending against Leclerc, but we're up into P7, so if we can get Bottas here, this is the last lap by the way, it's flown by, dive down the inside, the hairpin, just about get it without any contact on Bottas, so we're going to match our Australian Grand Prix result and get another P6 in this race, as we can't just quite get De Vries on the end there. But Esteban Ocon wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. To be fair to him, he deserved the win. He was definitely the quicker man today. McLaren had the overwhelming race pace. They were really, really quick. It was so hard to keep up with them. And then for me, I can't complain. After the mistaken howler I made, I'll take P6 from being in second last place.
It was a tough race at times, but they've held on to take a great victory for McLaren today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So there we go, McLaren confirming that they are here once again, maybe to stay and challenge for those race wins and podiums. They haven't lost any pace that they had last season. Were a little bit quiet last episode, but this one, I mean, it's a double podium actually. I didn't even realise. Ocon in first, but Hamilton got up into third place, and Albon with a really great second, showing that even though Red Bull clearly have improved a lot, and Ferrari as well, Racing Point and McLaren are still two top teams in our career mode save of here, and Red Bull had a howler, really bad luck. Lando obviously, you know, two incidents with the spin of the tyre wear and then crashing late on in the race, and then Schumacher, like I said, really poor in this race again. I think, I've got a bad feeling. Like I said, I think the theory is, because he's an F2 driver originally, he just doesn't have the experience, capability to handle the tyre wear, and you've seen, he's clearly quick over one lap, but when the tyre wear kicks in, I think he's just not able to manage that, and so he's falling away very quickly every time it matters. So that might make our lives very difficult when it comes to constructors, because we're down in P5 and we're already quite some way off McLaren there in first. That looked very good. So it's early days obviously, so I could be wrong, but if it continues like this, we're going to basically be a one-man team essentially, because Schumacher won't be getting us too many points, which is really a shame really, because he's doing so well in quali. We just need him to buck up in the race basically. And for ourselves, I mean, I can't talk too much. I mean, we had a howler today with that mistake, but at least we got some points in the end. So we've got to also improve as an individual to be right back up there. You know, we're far away from fighting for podiums right now. We would have done today. You know, I think we would have got second place, but we made that mistake. So, you know, we've got to also try and iron out those issues. But what a roller coaster of emotions and absolute action for you guys to watch today. Insane. If you guys enjoyed it, smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.